I'm Nankishore Swami, and today we would be learning about how to connect the Pega UI with Pega Robot. So in the last tutorial, we learned about how to build a user interface on Pega platform. So that video you can locate on the YouTube, and this is the name, Part 13, OpenSpan Pega Robotic, Pega PRPC building user interface application. So let's get started. Go ahead and just double click on the Pega play icon. It will start all your servers. Once it is started, you can go ahead and just minimize it. Then open up your Pega platform and we'll log into the application that we built in our last tutorial. So the user credential that we created, or the operator ID that we created in the last tutorial, was admin at ncase.com. The ncase we named the our application. So here we're gonna log in the application. So Pega platform will identify which application it should log in based on the credential or the operator ID we supply. So here we are in. So we are into the my application, and before we connect our Pega UI application with the Pega robot, we need to make sure certain conditions or certain checks are there. So let's go ahead and click on the case type, and the case we created, or the case management tool we created, is add customer. So our use case is customer will be supplying their information on our Pega UI, and our robot will capture that information from Pega UI and enter or add that customer information in the CRM application. And the CRM application that we are going to use is the same test application that OpenSpan or Pega provided us for testing or for building the test automations. So we will fill that information in this new customer form. Okay, so once you open your add customer, go to your operator ID and click on access group. Just make sure these three roles are added. One is administrator, another one is security administrator, and the Pega API. So the Pega API is the main one. This should be always there because our robot would be communicating with Pega platform application through the Pega API only. So this is all good. I'm going to close it. Now the second thing is we'll go to the application and go to our add customer and process and flow action, then collect information. Just to make sure that in the action field we have the robot activities in place for pre-processing or post-processing. So here, before customer enters the information on Pega UI, we don't want our robot to take any action. So we can keep the pre-processing under the action, pre-processing robot activity as a blank one. And since customer is done entering all the information on Pega UI, we want our robot to capture that information and then start entering into the CRM application. So in under the post processing, we have added a robot activity name get customer information. So we are all good from the UI perspective. Now let's get started and updating certain information for robot. So first let's go to app data, and okay, just open your app data folder, and inside the app data just locate your OpenSpan folder, and in the OpenSpan just locate your runtime config.xml file, and we need to edit that one first. So the section that we need to update is robotic. I have Notepad++, so I open the runtime config.xml file in Notepad++. If you do not have the Notepad++, then you can open that same file in normal Notepad. And once you have it's open, then locate the section which is Robotics. Just Control F and look for Robotic. And this is the section that we need to update. Let me have it a little bit zoom so it would be more easy to see. Inside the robotic section, just locate your local API service and just make sure your enable is true, your SSL is true, and SSL here stands for secure socket layer, and the port is 9443. Allow origin, just make only asterisk or star and remove the rest of the part. JWT security, we do not use any JWT security, so make it false. And Pega server URL, so that you can just go back to your Pega UI and copy the URL before till the port only. So it's localhost colon port number. So I'm gonna just paste it there, and there is no S. It's simple HTTP. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna just remove the unnecessary part. All right, now you can save it. Now go back to the folder, locate your studioconfig.xml file, and again go back, right click and just add it to whether you want to add it in Notepad or Notepad++ if you have available. Similarly, again, locate your robotic section, and in the robotic section this time we need to update is Pega server base URL, and the base URL is the same URL which we use to access our Pega platform application. So our Pega platform application, just there is a little bit catch here. We need to check is if you just copy the URL, the complete URL, and go to the normal Notepad and paste it there. So if you see, our URL starts with HTTP. But by default, if you look at the studio config file, you will find that is HTTPS. So first remove your HTTPS S word and then just put your localhost port 8080 and then PRWeb API v1. And that's the URL that we use to access our Pega platform. You can see it and save. Now we'll close the current folder and we'll open another folder which is C drive, then colon, backslash, and program data. It's not program file, it's program data. If you don't find that program data folder, even just type program data one word and backslash and OpenSpan. From there, open up your common config.xml file, and this time just scroll a little bit down. We do not have any robotic section specifically there, but we have a section called server configuration. So under the server configuration, look at the first line which starts with the name robot manager, and the URL. Again, change the URL. Just remove your S and change it to the same as we added for um, our Pega platform application, and set the enable to true, proxy address to empty, and RPA set as equal to false. since we are connecting it through the RDA bot, I mean the user going to manually run it. In the next session, we will cover up RPA section. So that time we'll make it to true. Authentication type, make it basic. Work group, we do not have any work group to pick up the cases. So we can keep it as blank. And robot name, which is our machine name. That's the environmental variable. So just save it and close it. Close. Now open up your Pega Robotic Studio. Just click on cancel. If we have Pega server installed, then we need to supply the Pega server credential there in that window. If we do not have, just keep it blank. Now go ahead and just create a new project. Go to the file, new project. Give a meaningful name. Just you can choose either empty project or the Pega robotic project. And let's add CRM customer and click on OK. Now go back to your Solution Explorer, right click on the project and add a GC, global container. Now look at the toolbar and we need to add a robot activity. So the robot activity is basically meant to communicate with the Pega platform applications. So just drag and drop there and go to the property section, select your robot activity. In the robot activity name section, you can keep a meaningful name, RBT, or you can keep it default. That's not a issue at all. Add cost. And the activity name is the name that we enter in our Pega application. So if you look at, here is the activity name. That is post-processing activity. So once this activity is triggered, then our robot will run it there. So once you added the activity name, the next thing that we need to supply is class name. So the class name is, if you go back to your Pega platform application, on the top you can see which starts with CL. CL stands for class, and this is the complete qualified class name. You can just copy it from here, go to a notepad, paste it there, and again copy. Because if you see, there is an enter in the copy paste. So just remove that enter and copy the entire class. Go back to your Robotics Studio, add your class name there. Now go to the collection field and click on this Eclipse button. It will show you the URL. URL is the one that we supplied in the studio config file. And the credential we're going to use the same as that we used to log into our Pega application. So it's admin @ nks.com and the password is install. Click on get case information. And if you see this error retrieving data from Pega, then go back to your Pega application. Just pay a little bit of attention here because this is the error that you're going to usually get it. But if you look at the videos or content from Pega PDN network, you won't find how to solve this error easily. So Now let's pay some attention or concentration to how to fix this issue. Uh, Now go to the records in the left hand side panel, and in the record just look for integration resources. So we are integrating our Pega robot to Pega application. So under the integration resources, as I mentioned earlier, our Pega application would be communicating with our Pega robot from using our Pega APIs. So that API is inside our service package. So if you open up your service package section, and now locate the API, which is here. Just open the API by double clicking on the API. And just locate a section which says required TLS SSL for REST service in this package. So as you know, our Pega robot communicate with Pega platform application using a REST services, REST API service. So and we do not have any SSL as of now, and we already set the SSL to the false in our uh, runtime config file. So we're gonna make it uncheck and go back to save button. So click on save. So basically what we did, we just bypassed the TLS and SSL security services. Now try it again. And there we go. So these are the properties that we created. If you look at our Pega application form, let me close the APIs. And if you look at the form, let me go back to the class and open up the class. So these are the fields that we created. If you look at the CRM there, city, city is here, first name, last name, and all the other related information. So let's click on the case ID. So whatever the property that you want to utilize in your robot, you can just simply check on the checkbox and click on OK. And now go back to your automation and go to the Object Explorer, which is not visible right now. So let's open the Object Explorer and click on the events. Event, just drag and drop the activity started. Once this activity is started, an activity would be started once you enter some information on Pega UI in the customer related information on Pega UI and click on the submit button. Once you click on the submit button, the activity that we mentioned under flow action and under the flow action and action, that activity would be triggered, and that activity we have added under this robot activity. Now, once that is done, there is a property we checked in is case ID. So we'll use that case ID to display in a message box. So go back to your toolbox, look for message box. and just display the message or the case ID in the message box. So let's save our automation and run it. So now our automation is running. Now go back to your Pega platform and click on the launch wave interface and click on case manager. This will help you to show how the user going to enter the information. So you can enter the information here, and or you can click on the plus symbol to create a new case and just enter any information. So I'm going to enter is CRM. Yes. Mm, First name is Ram, last name is Singh, address is ABC Street, city is BLR, state KR, zip is 123456, and go ahead and click on submit. Or if you don't see the submit button, there would be a done button. If you can click on the done and then click on submit. So there is an error message, unable to invoke robotic automation from this screen. The automation service either unavailable or the system is not authorized. So what do you need to do? So just copy this error message. Just right click and copy. Go to Google. Paste it. So just open up the first result, which is on the community.pega.com. And once it is open, scroll it bit down. And at the end, I have posted steps to fix this issue. So just follow this. We already made sure that our configuration is already good. So we can start from this step number 4, or even like further down, step number 5, 6, 7, and from the step number 8 actually. So just copy this URL and check it in the web browser. Click on advanced if you see this error message. Click on proceed. So the REST service is running. You will see this result only when your Pega robot is already running. So there is a precondition that your robot should be running to make sure this REST service is available. If you see this is available, then again go back to the step number 9, copy the URL and paste it in the URL. Okay, it's also showing as available. If it is not showing as available, then you can go to your Internet Explorer and press Alt key, go to the tools, Internet Options, and check if there is any proxy. If there is any proxy, just uncheck this proxy button and check on the automatic detect setting. Say OK, say OK, close your browser and just reopen it. Then refresh it. It should be accessible. Even if you are not able to access it, then again you can go to the Google and look for a software called Fiddler. Yeah, Fiddler. Just download it, install it, and it will show you the communication between our Pega platform and Pega robot, and there you can analyze if what communication is not able to perform. So basically you should just make sure that your https local runtime.pega.com 9443 API v1 runtime is available. It shows available. If it is available, then you can go back to your Pega UI and click on the launch web interface and click on the case manager. Okay, let's create a new case. Click on add new customer. And fill out certain information. No, the name is Ram Shah, address city BLR, state KR, zip code is there. Click on submit. There we go. So here you can see A4, and that is we can see in the message box, and that message box is popping up from here, this robot activity. So once this robot activity is complete, a trigger has started, then it will capture all the information, whatever the information we are passing here in the message box, and whatever the information we need, we can that set in the GC properties. So that's it in this tutorial. This is how you can set up your Pega UI, and you can build a robot that should trigger on the start activity. And let me just stop it. If you want the additional property to be fetched from Pega UI, then you can go back to your robot activity, click on the collection, and choose the number of properties that you want to access from Pega UI. Just click on checkbox, check state, city, address. So whatever you need, just click on the checkbox. You would be able to see all these properties assigned to your um, robot activity. So once you trigger your automation on the activity start, and similarly you also need to use set activity or set complete status. Just drag and drop the status. I accidentally deleted my robot activity. So similarly, you can just set the status here, and the status message would be passed back to your robot there. So this is how you can connect your robot with your Pega UI. That's it in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we would be working on setting up your RPA bot. Thanks for watching. See you in next video.